Hello, you're watching World Talks on TVP World. My name is Sascha Fahrbach. Russia has launched another major overnight barrage of ballistic missiles and drones into Ukraine, killing at least 15 people around Kyiv, igniting fires across the capital and surrounding region, and leaving rescue crews searching through the rubble into Wednesday morning. The attacks come as President Volodymyr Zelenskyy says Ukraine is ready for peace talks in any format, while pushing for a European missile shield and warning that air defense remains the country's most urgent need. Joining us now is Milan Lelich, political analyst at RBC-Ukraine. Good to have you with us. Now, Milan, I know that we have these terrible figures. Good morning, 15 confirmed dead at this point from this recent ballistic attack and drones into Kyiv. I mean, that is already bad enough, but tell us a bit more. You're there in the capital. I mean, this affects the entire city. So tell us what that night was like for you.
Yeah, it was yet another difficult night here for me and perhaps for any other resident of Kyiv. Everyone here is underslept. There is the quality of air around the city has worsened a lot because of different fires. You can just feel the smell everywhere in the city. Yeah, because a lot of Russians managed to hit a lot of targets. They launched 24 ballistic missiles plus several cruise missiles. None of them were shot down. Literally none of them, 0%. And this is an official report by our air defense, their morning report. They managed to shoot 85-something% of drones, but 0% of missiles. And Russians know it well. And basically here, everyone notices that the Russians have changed their tactics of attacks on Kyiv. Earlier, we used to suffer maybe once in 10 days, maybe once in 14 days or something, a very sophisticated multi-level attack. So Russians started with several barrages of drones, then different missiles coming from different directions, then another wave of drones. It lasted for like 10 hours or even more. Now, as the Russians know well that we don't have any remedy against their ballistic missiles, that we are technically unable to shoot them down. They just at any given night, or maybe almost every night, or at least several times a week, they just drop several ballistic missiles here and there because they know that we are really unable to do anything with this. So yes, the intensity of attacks has worsened over the course of several last weeks. And as a resident of Kyiv, I feel it really very strongly.
Yeah, and I think also, and thanks for sharing that, also we know that there's about 50 injured in the capital. We don't know how those figures will change throughout the day. You said this is something that officially now all of these ballistic missiles have gotten through. It is that weak point for Ukraine. At the same time, Ukrainians have done everything. Zelenskyy has done all he can really to make sure that European allies, the Americans, understand that. There's a report from CNN that apparently says that with the Americans have anywhere between half to 80% used up their own use of Patriot missile interceptors, which they're using in the Gulf. Since most of those supplies, if not all, come from the United States, how worrying is that kind of information to you, and what are the alternatives?
Extremely worrying. I also read this report, and it also shows how interconnected everything is in the modern day world. Well, as of now, we have another airstrike alert. I just got a notice. Perhaps another barrage of ballistic missiles, but never mind. Okay, it's worrying, and it also shows that perhaps Donald Trump has made a very big mistake, both for his country and for Ukraine and for Europe, because it heavily undermines not only the US security, but our security, meaning the security of entire Europe. Unfortunately, I think there is no immediate solution. Yes, every single anti-ballistic missile, every single interceptor given to us is something definitely worth for us, because if we are able to shoot at least 1 out of 20 or something missiles that Russians fire, it means that several lives, several objects here will be saved. So better at least something than nothing. But there is, again, no immediate solution. There are different partial solutions to this. As our President Zelenskyy emphasizes that in the world, there are in Europe and elsewhere, different countries, they still possess quite a quantity of different PAC-3 Patriot interceptors. And as Zelenskyy says, it's better to use them here than just to keep them stockpiled somewhere else, just in case something happens. Something is happening here and now in Ukraine. I mean, literally, perhaps at these seconds, perhaps the Russians have launched another wave of ballistic missiles on Kyiv. I think so.
But Milan, at any point in time, if indeed there is an alert and you're unsafe, please make your safety your priority. All right.
Okay, thank you, but it's okay. I'm sure everything's going to be fine. Yeah, so there are a lot of partial solutions. Just try to negotiate with different countries. Okay, if they are not able to provide, like 100 PAC-3, provide 5. Okay, another country will provide 7. Another country will provide 15. Still way better than nothing. Then the development of our own anti-ballistic system, which is perhaps it's kept in secret for obvious reasons, but as far as I understand, it's still in like early or middle phases. So we don't know their efficacy against Russian Iskanders. Just only the practice is going to show. So this could be part of the solution. And another part of the solution is targeting the Russian launchers in Russia, but there is a big problem that they are mobile platforms. So it means that we should have really live information in live mood about where they are. This is why during the last visit to the United States, President Zelenskyy, our delegations, they were eager to contact Elon Musk in order to persuade him to allow us to use information from the satellites that operate over Russian territory to give us live information where this or that particular launcher is. Unfortunately, as of now, these efforts brought no results, but there is still hope that this partial solution plus this partial solution plus that partial solution could somehow help us solve the problem, but definitely not entirely. So here in Ukraine, and especially in Kyiv and suburbs, literally everyone prepares for another very difficult winter.
Mm-hmm. And also right now, I mean, we're talking about defense, ballistic missile defense. I mean, short of having more donations come from other countries that possess them, President Zelenskyy has introduced this anti-ballistic shield, this project called FREYJA, which apparently already includes 12 defense companies from Europe. Tell us a bit more about this kind of shield, how quickly that can scale up, who's involved, and what that could mean for Ukraine.
Yeah, that's another very interesting idea, but it's kept in a real secret. So basically, no technical details leaked. At least I don't know them. I have never seen them. Perhaps we are talking about maybe several months till something could be shown on the battlefield. Let's hope it comes earlier. Several nations involved, several European producers involved. There were several meetings on top level, for example, in Paris, I think like 2 or 3 weeks ago, but no details about the system. And again, it's not something that's gonna save us here and now, but perhaps it's gonna help us through the winter. I hope so, and everyone here hopes so.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's also other initiatives on European level. I mean, there's the Sky Shield as well that's been talked about. So with all these different things, I'm just wondering also about interoperability. But another thing I wanted to ask you as well, a personal question to yourself and maybe those around you. I mean, seeing as you told us earlier that not a single ballistic missile was actually intercepted by your defenses in Kyiv, what about your plans right now? With the kind of danger you're in, Will you stay in Kyiv tonight over these next days, or are you going to, you or others, make some other arrangements?
I've never left Kyiv during the entire war. This is my city. This is my country. I'm definitely not going to leave. As for some personal measures, each and every person in Ukraine makes a decision for their own. Somebody hides whenever there are certain signals or signs that an attack is coming or will happen overnight. The majority of people, they differentiate. They see if this is like a drone attack or several perhaps missiles, not that much. They prefer to stay in bed or to hide underground in the parking area if there is such an opportunity. Some people just try to keep living their normal life as much as it is technically possible. I belong to them because I understand that it may last for another year, 2 years, 3 years. Let's hope it will not last, but it could. So it means that life goes on and on. So I try to keep living my life, to fulfill all my personal and professional duties. But this is quite hard. But still, Ukrainians, are incredibly flexible nation. This is not the exaggeration. We are so flexible for these everyday logistical difficulties, and there are numerous of them. I can hardly even describe this to people living somewhere in NATO countries, in the EU countries, how many small but still very unpleasant difficulties you may have when you live in the war zone. And Kyiv is still, despite being a rare city, we see that we are permanently under attack. So I think that if Putin thinks that these attacks will persuade Ukrainians to beg for peace on any terms, I'm 1000% sure that he is wrong. No, this is war of attrition. War of attrition is all about time and patience. It means that whoever manages to outlast their rivals just for one single day will win it. And I'm sure we will be the one who will win.
All right. So again, about that, as you said, incredible resilience of the Ukrainian people. But as ever, please, Milan, do stay safe. Difficult nights behind you and ahead, unfortunately. But thanks for your insights there. I really appreciate it. Milan Lelich there, political analyst at RBC-Ukraine. Thank you. And thank you for watching World Talks, but do stay right here on TVP World for more. Goodbye.